Now, moving on, how are the new Scottish hate crime laws getting on? So, well, that call handle centres are dealing with incidents that have been given a script defending the First Minister, Humza Yousaf, and Police Scotland staff have issued an email guide advising them on lines to give in response to claims that Yousaf gave a racist speech at Holyrood at the height of the Black Lives Matter movement in June 2020. Well, I can now speak with the co-director of For Women Scotland, Susan Smith. Susan, welcome to the show. So when these new laws came in, they were meant to stamp out hate crimes. What's happened instead, Susan, is that the helplines have been inundated with people complaining about the Scottish First Minister. It started on April Fool's, and lo and behold, it's turned into an absolute joke.
It really has, and it was inevitable and predictable. The only person who seemingly didn't seem to think this would happen was Humza Yousaf himself. It's a farce. It was a farce before it started. It was made worse by things like the Hate Monster campaign, and now we have this. Now, you know, I would never encourage people to make stupid or vexatious complaints because I think the police have got enough to deal with. But it was almost inevitable that this was going to happen because the law was so poorly explained.
And what's happened here is they've been given a crib sheet because ostensibly there are so many complaints and they don't want anybody on the complaints hotline to say anything wrong because no doubt people are recording that too. It just makes you wonder, you know, if the whole thing was worth it. I mean, Scotland is meant to be the home of free speech, and now it has some of the most draconian laws in the world.
It does. And, you know, one of the things we were promised when we went in to give evidence at committee 3 years ago was that they were going to have guidance and they were going to have examples written into the guidance of the kind of things that were not hate crimes. And we were obviously thinking from our point of view of things that women's rights campaigners were saying in the run-up to the gender recognition reform bill. So we were promised that we would all get together and we would be able to give examples of the kind of thing that was not a hate crime, and that could be then written into the guidance, and that would go to the police, and hopefully that would then be disseminated to the public so they had an idea that some things were not hate crimes. But that wasn't done because they didn't want to upset the transgender lobby. Now, I think that if they had done things like that, then people would not be running around making stupid complaints, because it wouldn't just have been about our situation. It would probably have been about things like, you know, certain football chants. They've already been there. They've already tried that. That was a failure. And so maybe that they should have had examples about that, and potentially, you know, that something the First Minister said back in the day was not a hate crime either. And they could have sorted this out, but instead what they did was do this stupid campaign saying if people say nasty things to you, say things that make you upset, that might be a hate crime. So it's on them.
Okay, Susan Smith, co-director